Hey traders, this is Taylor with Top Pick Trading. Since Mack is out today, I figured I'd give y'all a Thursday review rather than a Wednesday review. Um, you can see we had two massive legs down today and actually some pretty decent setups. Volatility was way higher today as well as the volume. So you can see we had this measure move down, went sideways for a little while, then another leg down that went pretty well past that measured move. So let's get started on the review. So you had this spike up through the overnight, two-legged correction, another leg up, and then we started this really strong sell-off right into the open. I didn't see really anything through here, so all so far from the EMA. We broke that channel, came back, and we started this new channel here. Would have been really hard to find it. Right in here you may have had it, but it feels a little wide. There's not many touches in this area here. If you went off that close, it's pretty dang close. So when you see that the EMA keeps holding and we just keep going lower, you have to think it's probably a wider channel. Fits decently well off the lows as well. So right in here, you can see we came back to the EMA and got this little mini triple test here with a good bar. Problem is it's really congested um, and kind of near where we've been finding a little bit of support. You could take a chance there, but personally I'd wait on something better. Unfortunately, it falls and plummets to the support from yesterday afternoon after I think Nvidia reported. That's what caused this big spike. So if you took that, I get it, but a little bit too aggressive for me just because of the local price action. And this channel wasn't completely convincing. It was a little odd, but I do think in the end it was correct. So anyway, it plummets down, drops to this support as I mentioned, comes back. You're expecting at least a retest here. Unfortunately, no setups through this. Pushes higher, you get a higher low, but it's so bearish that you probably want to wait. We are we are well below the overnight lows, which is right here, but we are coming off this support like I mentioned. So just something to keep in mind. Pushes higher. You get this bar right here that's far from the EMA. It made a new high though. It's kind of congested in here, so unless you want to take a risk, just because it's 5 ticks, then better wait on a lower high or a failure. And you can see here we ended up getting that failure with a really nice bar. First entry long, second entry long, it fails right below that EMA. Probably just expecting another leg down here. This was a very small retest, so a lot of the times you'll get a slightly bigger correction and then another retest here, and that's what we got. So I really like that trade a lot. You had to be quick to get into it. It drops down to this support area. We chop sideways, get a higher low. I'm still just a little bit wary of longs. Plus, this micro trend doesn't have a retest yet. Pushes higher, you get a break and a few legs up. No bar here at this resistance area. Plummets down. You get what's technically a second entry, but it's a lot of congestion in there. A little unclear, and it's finishing right into the low of the move. So, in my opinion, that one's better to wait on. It plummets down, drops below that support area. No break in new low. And then notice we get this really strong micro move up. Almost all these bullish bars closing on their high. And then we form this like 2 legs back, but he made the new high here with a break. So it's really just a failed second entry short. And I marked it orange just because I wanted to point this out. If this had a clear break and new low already, then I really like this trade coming off this major support area. But unfortunately, there's no break and new low from this, so I think it's just too risky. It's a shame too because locally it looks really great. I mean, this setup and signal bar are as good as it gets, and the area that it's turning is also nice, right at the EMA as well. But for the reasons I mentioned, no new low from this, and this technically playing out, I think you got to wait. It's a shame. Different context, this is a great setup, and it ends up working. Pushes higher. We chop sideways, form this what appears to be a spiking channel. It breaks here. I don't see much through here that you could take. Ends up pushing up to a new high again, or retesting this general area. And then the strong sell-off begins. No setups up here, just congestion and no break above on any kind of triple test or anything. You can see that there is some resistance here, but didn't quite get up there to it, and just straight congestion. Plus this micro trend. I know it's probably a retest leg, but it's strong enough to maybe want to break a new high from it as well. So it pushes lower. We just kind of chop lower, and no setups. Everything so far from the EMA. We get this little micro trend. This is technically a second entry, but no way to take that right into this support area, and micro trend working up. It's a terrible bar anyway. This is your signal bar. So pushes lower, comes back. You get like a visual second entry. You wouldn't have had this trend line yet, this big trend line, and it's a bad bar anyway. Pushes strongly lower again. You have to start thinking there's probably something bigger. You would have probably drawn this now by that point when you saw it push a lot lower. Also fitting pretty well off the lows in this area and in this area. It comes back. You just get a first entry. You get this second entry here. It's pretty tempting, but man, it's so far from that EMA. So I don't think you can take the lower high second entry just because of the distance. If this pushed up into the EMA one more time and formed the second entry and lower high in this area, then I think it's a great trade. But this one's just kind of no man's land. It's also right at the measure move of this big range here. So no trade there. Pushes lower, chops sideways. You just get like a first entry and a double test. Closes around to the lows. So no setup there again. Pushes lower. Everything's so far from the EMA. I think you just got to wait. You did get a second entry here, but the bar is not any good. It is a breaking new high from this micro trend, but not quite at that key entry point either. So you need a really, really good bar here if you're going to take it, not quite at the key entry point. It does end up working, pushes lower, comes back one more time. You get the break and retest from that leg here, and you wouldn't have had the spike in channel yet, but you can see that it's still really bearish. This was the first couple of closes above the EMA, and it didn't get very far before selling off strongly again. You get this micro trend down, and then you get a very wide two-legged correction here. Both of these are pretty tempting, but I held off on both of these for a couple different reasons. This is really like the retest leg of this leg. So I think you maybe can consider this one as just a double test, but it's a wide second entry. This is probably going to retest. And at this point, it's just been so bearish that you can start being slightly more aggressive if it's in areas that you like. It's a good bar as well, but and this is likely an exhaustion bar, but it's hard to know that. Three strong bearish bars, or excuse me, bullish bars here. This one closing on its high. So, but given the overall context, it's pretty tempting. So I marked it aggressive, and then you get this, since this is like a double bottom, you can reset the count. You get another second entry here. This one is also aggressive, but for different reasons. This one's, I wish it formed up here at this resistance, but it formed right into the EMA. It is a lower high second entry, so if you want to take a chance there, it's really not all that big compared to some of the bars today. So I think you can probably take that. It's like a continuation of the wider second entry short, and also a more local second entry short. So if you took that, I think it's okay. It comes down, gets a break, and you get this strong push up here. You get a close outside, new high, and you get this like failed break higher from this range. But notice the bodies are all still closing back within that resistance area. So it's really like a triple test, almost a quadruple test really. This is the third test, pushes up, failed break out of this tight congestion, and then failed break out of the high side of the tight congestion, and continuation of trend here. It also confirms this spike in channel here. It's a great bar. You got room to the EMA, which you really wouldn't be all that worried about anyway, but you've also got room to the midline, and it's probably going to retest these lows again, and you can see it does. Pushes lower, close outside from that micro trend, new low, chop sideways. You get a first entry and like a double test of this area, so I don't think there's a setup there. This probably wants a, you think that may want to retest. It doesn't end up happening, but hard to know that at the time. We chop lower. We start really bouncing in the support area, but it's so bearish today that I think you just want to avoid taking any longs. It's got to be really nice to be a long, and you want some bullish impulses the other direction first that are breaking some of these pivot points. You can see we're still just pushing lower and lower. It's bearish and then range, then bearish, then range. So I think you want to avoid all the longs here. We push up here, we get the close outside and a new high from this. This is like a double bottom, so it is a second entry short, but that setup bar is huge. It also breaks this trend line, so a lot of the times you'll get a slightly bigger correction than that. So if you took a chance there, 7 ticks, really far from the EMA on a day that's not letting prices get that far above the EMA, at least since the downtrends have started. I get that, but for me, this was a little bit too aggressive. It does work, pushes lower, chops sideways into 330, and you can see we found some pretty significant support here. At this point, if this is like 3 minutes before the close, but if this was earlier in the day, I think you could probably take this trade as well. It's a second entry long and like a quintuple test. You tested it once, twice, three times, four times, a fifth time. Good bar. Obvious two-legged correction back to that support area. So different time, maybe you could take that one, but not with the time of day that formed. So yeah, that's how I saw it today. It's pretty decent setups. Some aggressive ones you could try to take a chance on, and then some other ones I marked just for context on a different day potentially, or a different situation that happened before, like this one right here. So let's take a look at the second chart. Some different setups on this one, but still you can see the overall trends were pretty much the same, which you'd expect. This is also the 2000 tick chart with just a different tick offset. I like to watch these because different signal bars form, but in the same context. So same thing here, push up, break, two-legged correction, another push up to a new high. Some of my trends got moved a little bit. Strong sell off here, chops lower. No setup in this location on this one. Pushes lower. You get a first push above that EMA here, and you push down, you get this lower high. It's also a bit of a triple test after this failed break higher from that area. It's a great bar, so I really like that trade. Pushes to the new low or to the support area, so it would have been a pretty easy scalp. You get a two-legged correction here, and you get that same. I meant to mark this. You get that same failure here as on the other chart, and it's also a good bar. It is a lot bigger, so you have less room, but it's probably going to push to the low again, which it almost does. Not quite, but overall I like this one too. I'm going to mark it green just because the bar is a lot bigger and formed lower. But still, in my opinion, good trade. You would have had this tighter trend here, so it makes it a little more of a question, but with how bearish it was, it's probably going to retest that low after a more significant correction. So it pushes lower here. You get this wider micro trend up here. I wouldn't be wanting longs yet unless they're clearly off this support level. And it pushes lower here. You get this lower high, but it moved kind of far to consider just a lower high, in my opinion, to consider taking it. It's also a little bit congested, and it didn't tick higher here. And this is pretty, you did get an overshoot from this, but this may want to retest. So you probably want to wait on that one. It pushes lower, pushes back above that EMA. And same thing here, you get this spike in channel. It really moved all my trend lines today. You get this like two legs up and then a spike in channel. No setups through here. I'd just be waiting for a short, to be honest. So I wouldn't really even be looking at longs. No setups anyway. Pushes higher with a strong retest leg. And you get a better bar on this one, but it's still the same situation. It didn't tick higher. And this is a pretty strong move here. It's probably going to want to retest. It doesn't, but you don't know that at the time. Pushes strongly lower, chops here. And on this chart, you get a decent second entry, but at the time, it looks like this has played out. It's also forming in a little bit of congestion here. Bar's huge by the close. So I think you probably want to wait on that one. It's not clearly testing this support resistance area either. It's kind of starting above it. So probably want to wait. Pushes lower, comes back. You get a second entry short. Similar situation as on the other chart. You just wouldn't have had this trend line to trust yet. It's only the second touch. So, and this got moved as well. So I just, above the EMA like that, I don't think you want to take it. It is testing this area a little bit better, but still not quite up to it. So I'd wait on that one. Pushes strongly lower. You get a first entry, no setup. Chops lower, or chops sideways. This is really a new low here, so another first entry. Not really any resistance. Third touch of that yet, at least. It works. Nice bar off the EMA and a downtrend. A lot of times they'll just work without giving you a chance for a second entry. But too risky in my opinion. Pushes lower. Chops way below the EMA. It looks like you may get an overshoot on this chart a little bit. We get this strong push up. Oh, let's see. Let me adjust this just slightly. I think I had it like this right here. Yeah, here we go. And you can see Mack talks about this sometimes, maybe in a different form, but you can see how it closed here and then gapped one tick above. That usually lets you know that your trend line is correct. I think he talks about gaps that don't overlap themselves, but I've noticed seems like sometimes just with a closed gap like that, it'll also do it. So I believe that's the way to draw this one. You do get a little overshoot from this one, but it's been so bearish. We come back and we get this second entry short here. Really nice bar. First time above that EMA in a while, and it's barely above the EMA. This clearly has a close outside, new high, so I think you can take that trade. It's kind of no man's land, so it makes it a little more aggressive, and it's not showing rejection off the EMA itself, so a little more aggressive, but second entry short and such a strong downtrend with no micro trends going against you. I think you can take the chance there. Comes back, triple test, kind of, but closing above and bad bar, pushes lower. We get like this visual second entry short here, but kind of a doji bar. It is right at the EMA and key entry point, but we've got the break now. Excuse me. So you probably want to wait on something a little bit better, hoping for like a lower high. Doesn't end up happening there, but it comes back, and now we get that lower high like on the other chart, and this one's a little bit stronger here. This resistance ends up moving, but at the time you would have had it somewhere in this area. So it's just kind of like a triple test, lower high, second entry short as well. This is pretty much a double bottom. Just expecting continuation, so I think you can take that one. Big risk though, so maybe you want to drop a limit. Would have worked nicely. Pushes down, comes up, triple test on this one, and now you see where these bars are closing, so you want to probably adjust it a little bit. Just kind of have to remain uh, dynamic in this area, because some of the times these ranges will move a little bit. Doesn't really end up mattering because the triple test is a bad bar. Pushes lower, chop sideways, nothing through here, just starting to get really sideways. Same thing with this resistance. It wasn't quite static. It moved a little bit, but didn't matter. No setups through it. You get two legs up, and then you find this support area. No good setups, and it's past 330 anyway. So if you guys enjoyed that, pretty good trading day. Some really clear setups, but still probably not as many as you would expect with so much price action like today. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I'll try to make the bar by bar for tomorrow, and we'll see you then. Thank you. Bye.